Welcome everyone to CIB24.com, and today this is the second episode of AutoMods, and today we will be explaining to you how to install a cold air intake system into your vehicle, and does it pack any power and punch to get the horsepower you need. Since mid-1970s, most cars had thermostatic air intakes, and now, these days, we customize them to get a cold air intake right into your engine to get that extra horsepower you need. But does it get you the extra power? We'll find out. Aftermarket cold air intakes are marked and claims and increases the engine efficiency and the performance. The principle behind the cold air intake is that the cooler air goes in more density goes inside the engine, which gives it more oxygen per volume of unit than warmer air, 79% oxygen and 21% nitrogen. This provides you warm air to cold air, which mixing together will give you extra power, efficiency, and saving gas.
We're going to be running an R34 Skyline on the dyno to see if a cold air intake makes any difference. We're going to start off with the factory airbox so we can get a baseline of what kind of power the car's making. The factory setup also includes a snorkel which feeds cold air into the airbox. Okay, with a stock setup, it's time for our first run. The factory system peaks at around 169 kilowatts. Time to put on a pod and see what kind of power we don't get. We're logging temperatures on the dyno, and you can see the ambient temperature's 15 degrees, while the air going into the pod is around 24 degrees during the run. The pod's coming off, and we're going to do a run with no filter at all to see if there's any restriction. Under the hood quickly heats up to 34 degrees, but once the dyno fan's switched on, it comes all the way back down to 24 again.
The risk behind installing an air intake system is you get hydrolock. Hydrolock is when you drive on the street, you get a flood, you have more water above the bumper, you get it inside the air intake system, which is right at the back of the bumper, right at the bottom. So if you get water inside, your engine is damaged. Most cold air intake systems will be underneath the bumper, and to get that, sometimes you need to jack up your car and get this raised up, and then you can go under to install the air intake filter. So this is the sound of an air intake system. Number 2 is noise. Removing the muffle devices causes more noise, and you do not want police coming after you to check if you actually install a modified part to your vehicle. So be careful when installing these. So getting 10% of horsepower into your vehicle is fake. Of course, if you look online on eBay and any other sources, they tell you 10% to 20% gain. All of it is not true. The real percentage behind it is behind what type of vehicle you have, and if you don't have a turbo, you'll get around 0 to 3% horsepower extra. That's not a big gain, but if you do have a turbo, you'll get 0 to 50 horsepower in no time. Depending what type of powerful turbo you have, you could get up to 100 horsepower. Test the temperature, make sure the temperature is correct. There's no restrictions removing the headlight from outside to get air right inside through the headlight in your system when you're on a dyno. This, you'll check out the temperatures and make sure the pod filters are working correctly. Make sure everything is sealed, and you'll get that good deep sound and you get that extra power you need. You can also buy oil filter. This is around $100 to $120, and if you want to spend a buck, go ahead and do it. Remember, you have to change these filters between 2 years to 3 years, or else your filter will get really gunky.
The tools needed for this install are shown. Reconnect the negative battery cable and double check to make sure everything is tightened and properly positioned before starting the vehicle.
Now I'm going to show you how to install a mini filter. You need 2 of these, one that goes at the valve of the engine and one that goes at the valve at the EGR where the EGR valve is. And of course, it's right beside the MAF sensor. You need some gloves, you need a good screwdriver, flathead or triangle, depending on what type of screws you have for your intake. You'll need extra hosing, just in case you need to make the hose longer. And you need some electrical tape or duct tape. I'm going to teach you how to install a mini filter into your car. You need 2 of them. One that goes into the valve of the engine, one goes into the intake system. Take out the hose, 2 clips to reinstall and take out. Very simple to install. Remember, you have a flathead screwdriver available with you, and that's all you need. This gets you from having no oil recirculating from inside the engine into the cold air intake and back into your EGR valve to your engine. This will cause bad damage to your EGR valve, and you don't want to have a glunky one and get it cleaned all the time. So I recommend take out the hoses and have a mini filter. So there you go, guys. Cold air intake is installed, and that's the noise you get. That concludes it for this episode on CIB24.com. Just remember to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. More episodes are up next, and our next episode will be about turbo supporting mods. What type of extra mods you need to get your turbo working. Now, thank you very much for joining us. I'm Cosmin Vlasi, and drive safe.